today we're talking about Launtrell Williams, aka Pooh Shiesty.
Oh my God!
Big boy, she love cooking.
Picture this. You're stuck inside a federal prison cell. No freedom, no rides, no nightlife. But your bank account's so stacked that you go and drop cash on 2 Ferraris just cause you bored. That's exactly what Memphis rapper Pooh Shiesty did. And believe me, that's only the start of his wild money saga. We talking about a dude who went from struggling in the streets to millionaire status after one phone call from Gucci Mane. He was spending 100 racks on diamond grills, buying Lambos like they were Toyotas, and gifting his mom a full-blown mansion before he could even legally toast a drink. That's next level hustle right there. But here's where things get even crazier. Most rappers lose everything once they get locked up, but Pooh Shiesty flipped the script and started making boss moves behind bars. From his record label deals to those insane Ferrari buys from prison, this man was proving that money moves don't stop just because the door's closed. This story goes way deeper than you think. If you want to know how this Memphis star turned his fame into a multi-million-dollar empire, kept the cash flowing while incarcerated, and made a flex so bold it had the entire rap scene talking, then keep watching. You're not gonna believe how this all played out. Welcome back to the channel, where we dive into the wildest, most unbelievable rapper stories out there. Today, we're diving deep into the wild come-up of Memphis rapper Pooh Shiesty, a young star who went from the struggle to living like royalty almost overnight. We're talking about a guy who literally bought Ferraris while sitting in prison, dropped hundreds of thousands on diamond grills, and lived a life most people only see in dreams. This story is about to get crazy, so strap in fam, cause this one's a roller coaster. Pooh, real name Launtrell Williams Jr., came straight out of South Memphis, right from the Cane Creek projects. And if you know anything about Memphis, you know that spot is no playground. The city's got a reputation, over 100 different crews out there, each trying to make their mark. Growing up there wasn't easy. It was survival every single day. But here's where things take a twist. Pooh's dad, known in the streets as Mob Boss, was already deep in both the hustle and the music game. He ran his own label, Mob Ties Records, which means music was in Pooh's blood from day one. But don't get it twisted. It wasn't all about beats and studio lights. His pops had some serious run-ins with the law back in the day, facing heavy charges that had the streets talking. As a kid, Pooh saw it all, both sides of the grind. One day he'd be in the studio with his dad watching music magic happen, and the next, he witnessed the darker side of the street hustle up close. That mix of music and madness shaped who he became, a rapper who understood both the business and the block like few others ever could. By age 11, Pooh Shiesty was already getting into serious trouble, and by 14, he found himself caught up in the system again. The streets kept pulling him in, and he couldn't resist that fast-paced lifestyle. But here's the wild part. Even with all that chaos around him, he actually managed to graduate high school. That alone says a lot about his grind and determination. After graduation, he and his crew came together to form what they called Chopper Gang. But this wasn't your average rap group. They saw themselves as a tight unit focused on making money and building their name up by any means that made sense. At first, Pooh wasn't even fully into music. He had dreams of playing basketball and stacking street cash. But when he finally decided to step in the booth in 2018, everything changed instantly. His breakout track Hell Night with featuring Big 30 went viral fast, pulling in 6 million views and putting all eyes on Memphis. The city was buzzing, and people were saying, "Who's this new star taking over the game?" That's when everything flipped. One day, Pooh's grinding in Memphis, dropping heat like Mane Slime, and suddenly his phone lights up. It's Gucci Mane himself. The trap legend slid into Pooh's DMs after hearing his music and saw the raw talent right away. Within months of that first conversation, Pooh Shiesty was officially signed to 1017 Records. Just like that, this young artist from the Memphis projects went from local street buzz to being backed by one of the biggest icons in trap music. His story wasn't just about luck. It was about hustle, timing, and turning pressure into power. Signing with 1017 Records was Pooh Shiesty's first major payday, and while the official numbers were never made public, insiders say it was the kind of deal that instantly put him in millionaire territory. Reports estimate his net worth around $1 million at the time. But trust me fam, that was only the start of this wild money journey. Things were just getting hot. Then came the explosion, Back in Blood. the track that took Pooh from underground fame to full-blown mainstream stardom. If you thought Lincoln with Gucci was big, wait until you hear what happened next. In November 2020, Pooh teamed up with Lil Durk for what will become one of the hardest rap collaborations of the decade. Here's how it all went down. Pooh was in Atlanta at Savage Inc. Studios laying down his verse with full energy. When he finished, he passed the track to Lil Durk in the next room, and Durk didn't waste a second. He dropped his verse in 5 minutes flat. The chemistry was insane, and the final track became a straight-up anthem. Back in Blood went crazy, climbing to number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 6 on the hip-hop charts. The song pulled in hundreds of millions of streams across all platforms. Just from Spotify alone, with its payout rates, that hit could have earned roughly $70,000, and that's not even counting YouTube, Apple Music, or other streaming sites. Once the money started flowing, Pooh Shiesty began living like he'd been rich his whole life. The glow-up was real. Let's start with his jewelry game, because in the rap world, your ice tells your whole story. Pooh was a regular at Johnny Dang and Compto, one of the biggest names in custom jewelry, dropping massive cash on chains, watches, and one-of-a-kind pieces that made jaws drop everywhere he went.
He rocked his 1017 chains, some likely gifted by Gucci Mane himself. But he didn't just rely on gifts. Pooh invested his own bag into creating custom masterpieces that screamed confidence and success. But here's where things went next level. Pooh Shiesty reportedly spent $100,000 on a single set of grills. Yeah, not a chain, not a watch, but custom diamond-covered grills for his teeth. That's the kind of flex most people couldn't even imagine. And when it came to cars, Pooh wasn't playing around either. His main ride, a Lamborghini Urus, a beast of a vehicle that starts around $200,000. This luxury SUV came with a roaring 4.0-liter V8 engine, could hit speeds of over 120 miles per hour, and went from 0 to 60 in about 3.6 seconds. That's not just a ride, that's a statement on wheels. But the collection didn't stop there. Gucci Mane came through with a huge gift, a slime green 2021 Jeep Trackhawk. And those aren't your regular SUVs either. We're talking another 6-figure whip that can keep up with high-end sports cars on the highway. The speed, the shine, the swagger, everything about Pooh's lifestyle was loud, luxurious, and larger than life. Things were looking unstoppable for him until the next twist hit. Pooh Shiesty wasn't just into Lambos and Jeeps, he was also out here renting McLarens. And these aren't your average rides. Depending on the model, they can go from $200,000 all the way up to $500,000. This man was switching between luxury cars the way most people swap sneakers. Every week, a new set of keys, a new statement, and a new level of shine. But now get ready, because this next move is where Pooh's story goes from wild to legendary. When he got locked up in 2021, most folks would have expected him to chill out, stack his money, and wait it out quietly. But not Pooh Shiesty, that's just not how he moved. Word is, he got so bored behind bars that he decided to buy 2 Ferraris while still in prison. Just picture that for a second, sitting in a federal cell, can't drive anywhere, can't even see the cars in person, but still dropping hundreds of thousands of dollars like it's nothing. That's an unheard of kind of flex. These Ferraris start at around $200,000 each, and depending on the model, can push past $500,000. That's millionaire behavior, even without freedom. And here's where it gets even spicier. Reports claim Pooh made those Ferrari purchases as a message to his ex, who had started seeing someone new while he was away. Instead of arguing or making a scene, he sent the loudest message money could buy: 2 brand new Ferraris. It was like saying, yeah, I might be locked up, but I'm still living large. That Ferrari move alone showed just how stacked Pooh Shiesty's bank account really was. Most people in this position would have been focused on legal costs, commissary, and saving for when they got out. But Pooh, he was on a completely different level, dropping nearly $500,000 on cars he couldn't even touch just to make a statement. That's financial confidence like no other. But here's where the story takes a softer turn: the real estate game. One of the most touching parts of Shiesty's success story is what he did for his family, especially his mom. The moment those big checks started rolling in, one of his very first moves was buying his mother a brand new mansion. You could tell this wasn't just about flexing, it was about love and gratitude. Even though we don't know the exact price or location, clips shared online showed a huge, beautiful home, easily worth several $100,000, maybe even more. It had space, style, and luxury, the kind of home that says, "We made it." Pooh's mom was known to love cooking, so you can imagine her in that dream kitchen, smiling while whipping up something special. That's the kind of success story that hits the heart. And just when you think his spending couldn't get more unique, here comes the pet game. Pooh wasn't just buying cars and ice, he was also picking up high-end pit bull puppies. And these weren't your average dogs. We're talking about top bloodline pups that can go anywhere from $2,000 to $20,000 each, depending on the breeder and training. So yeah, we're talking about Pooh Shiesty potentially spending over $40,000 just on his dogs. And that's not even counting the ongoing costs for food, training, and all the luxury care that comes with owning top breed pups. But when you're making millions, dropping tens of thousands on pets is just another casual move. It was clear Pooh wasn't just living rich, he was living limitless. Now let's talk about one of the smartest parts of his hustle, the merchandise empire. What really set Pooh Shiesty apart was that he didn't rely on just music money. Through his deal with 1017 Records, he built a whole merch business that had fans everywhere spending to rep his name. You could grab Shiesty season hoodies for around $45, face masks for $15, and other gear that sold out fast. Those prices might not sound wild at first, but when you're moving thousands of pieces, that cash piles up quick. Merch is one of the most profitable sides of the music industry, and Pooh knew how to use it to his advantage. Every hoodie sold was basically money straight into his pocket, easy income that never stopped flowing. But the real jackpot, streaming. Pooh Shiesty's debut project, Shiesty Season, dropped like a bomb, debuting at number 4 in the Billboard 200 charts and selling about 62,000 album equivalent units in its very first week. That's major for a new artist. Tracks like Monday to Sunday featuring Lil Baby and Big 30 pulled in over 50 million views on YouTube alone. And that's just one record. Add in the rest of his catalog and you're looking at song after song racking up hundreds of millions of plays worldwide. Even at a modest rate of about $3,500 per million streams, that's serious money pouring in just from fans pressing play. But of course, with fame and fortune came some heavy responsibilities, especially when it came to legal costs. When Pooh Shiesty caught his federal case, he didn't settle for any ordinary defense. He went straight for one of the most respected attorneys in the game, Bradford Cohen. This is the same powerhouse lawyer who's represented huge industry names like Kodak Black and Y&L Melly. Now, lawyers at that level don't come cheap. We're talking legal bills that could easily stretch into hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the fact that Pooh could afford that kind of representation without breaking a sweat showed exactly how strong his finances really were. He wasn't just rich, he was strategic. And here's where things get even wilder. Even while he was locked up, Pooh kept his brand alive and his money moving. He managed to record 2 projects over jail phone calls, Federal Contraband and Federal Contraband 2. That right there proved that his hustle never took a break. A lot of rappers lose everything when they can't perform or tour, but Pooh Shiesty set himself up differently. His money was structured in a way that kept generating income even while he was locked up. Pure business strategy. That's how you know he was thinking long term, not just fast cash. Then came the big moment, his early release. In October 2025, after serving about 3 years of a 5-year sentence, Pooh Shiesty walked out ready to reclaim his throne. And he didn't waste a second. One of his first moves was hitting the jeweler and dropping $100,000 on a brand new chain. That move said it all. Prison didn't drain his pockets one bit. His brother in grime, Big 30, was right there celebrating with him, flashing a massive bankroll and proving that Chopper Gang's money flow never stopped. Even after 3 years behind bars, Pooh's finances were untouched, solid, steady, and ready for the next chapter. Now, let's break down the numbers behind his fortune, the real deal. Pooh Shiesty's initial 1017 Records deal was reportedly worth around $1 million. His streaming revenue added hundreds of thousands more thanks to his hit songs dominating platforms like Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Music. Then there were the merch sales. Thousands of fans buying Shiesty season hoodies and accessories that easily brought in tens of thousands in profits. Add to that,
his real estate investments, with property worth several $100,000, and his car collection, Lamborghinis, McLarens, Ferraris, easily totaling $500,000 or more. And don't forget his jewelry game, with over $100,000 tied up in watches, chains, and custom diamond pieces. This man went from the rough streets to buying Ferraris while in prison, all within just a few short years. That's a transformation you don't see every day. Pooh Shiesty started living like he'd been wealthy forever, dropping 6 figures on ice, gifting his mom a mansion, and cruising in exotic rides most people only dream about. The wildest part, he managed to keep that same high-end lifestyle even while behind bars, proving that his money wasn't just temporary fame cash, it was real, sustainable wealth. His story isn't just about flexing, it's about smart moves and strategy. Pooh's success showed that he didn't just make money, he knew how to manage it. His wealth was built on multiple income streams, investments, and business sense that went way beyond the music. And there's some major lessons buried in his rise. First, diversify your income. Pooh didn't depend solely on music. He built up merch sales, streaming profits, and smart investments that kept cash coming in from every direction. Second, take care of family first. One of his first major moves after the big payday was buying his mom a dream home, a real sign of loyalty and love. Third, invest in yourself. Even his flashy jewelry and luxury cars weren't just about showing off. They helped build his image and strengthen his brand. Fourth, plan for setbacks. His money setup was strong enough to keep his lifestyle steady even during tough times. And finally, stay humble, but flex when it counts. Buying Ferraris while locked up? That was a power move that told the world he was still in control. Now that Pooh Shiesty is free again, everyone's asking, what's next? He wasted no time, dropping $100,000 on new jewelry his first day out, proving his money is still flowing strong. With the music scene shifting and his fan base staying loyal, he's in a prime spot to make even more than before. Plus, now that he's running under his own Chopper Gang label instead of 1017 Records, it's clear Pooh Shiesty is calling his own shots and leveling up like never before. And now, with Pooh Shiesty running under his own Chopper Gang label and keeping the biggest share of his profits, the next chapter could bring even bigger paydays. His journey stands out as one of the craziest real-life rags to riches stories in modern hip-hop, from the Cane Creek projects to buying Ferraris from prison. He proved what it really means to go from broke to boss in record time. But Pooh's story isn't just about cash. It's about power, respect, and loyalty. It's about using success to uplift his family and his crew, showing everyone that no matter how rough the road gets, you can still rise to the top if you move smart. Even when faced with major challenges, his financial foundation stayed rock solid. While others might have crumbled under the pressure, Pooh was out here making power moves from behind bars. Think about that. A man sitting in prison, unable to even see his cars, but still confident enough to spend hundreds of thousands on Ferraris just to send a message. That's not just money. That's status, legacy, and long-term planning. This wasn't short-term rap fame. This was generational wealth, built smart, managed wisely, and made to last. Now that Pooh Shiesty is back on the outside and re-entering the music game, one thing is crystal clear. Prison didn't break his spirit or his bank account. If anything, it made him sharper, hungrier, and more focused than ever. His money's still flowing, his fans are still loyal, and his story is far from finished. That right there is the $1 million life for Pooh Shiesty, a wild mix of street dreams, fame, and financial finesse that led him to flex like no other. Buying Ferraris from behind bars? That's next level confidence. If you thought this story was wild, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Tell me what you think about Shiesty's insane rise to riches. Until next time, keep chasing your goals, because sometimes all it takes is one call to change your entire life.